Alright, our project is Words of the Woodlands, exploring Native American hunting traditions. And I want you to picture that you've just shot a deer, and now you're tracking it through the forest. What skills and equipment would you need? The purpose of this investigation was to better understand the profound connection between the Native Americans and the land they inhabited, specifically through hunting. Not only did we want to understand how they used their equipment and skills, but we want to understand how they were connected to the spiritual world as well.
We both picked this project because we share the same love for archery and we love hunting, and we picked this topic over any other anything just because we both have Native American blood and want to learn more about the land our ancestors walked before us.
Now, we were very deeply connected to this topic, myself in particular. I used the same traditional equipment once used by the Native Americans. So that not only allowed us to approach this project from a deeply personal perspective, but also an experimental perspective as well. So I'll start by talking about how the bow making process. Most bows range from 3 to 6 feet tall for activities such as horseback riding in the plains, such as the Sioux Native Americans, all the way to 6 feet tall for long range shooting and hunting in the eastern Native Americans, such as the Cherokees. And they use them for different animals. Like you'd probably need a bigger, powerful bow to take down a buffalo, whereas then you can have a smaller bow to take out a squirrel. So what they did is they used flexible, resilient wood, such as ash, hickory, or Osage orange, and those woods are spread out throughout the state. And they made their bowstring out of something called sinew, which is a tendon that unites the muscle to the bone. They would take it, they would dehydrate it, take all the moisture out of it, they would stretch it, and then they would make it fibrous, and then they would braid it into a bowstring. And this could also be attached to the back of the bow and make it more powerful and resilient. Next, the arrows. Now, the arrows themselves, they were made from river cane, or they would take, where river cane was available, they'd take just smaller branches and smaller straight branches, and they would whittle it down into arrow shafts. And then they would take turkey feathers, since they were large and easy to get, and they were large and they were good for stability. They would use those as fletchings, and then they would tie it to the bowstring with different sizes of sinew. The good thing about sinew is that not only for bowstrings, but they could make it different sizes and lengths for all sorts of stuff, for sewing and attaching feathers to arrows. And then they would take the point, and then they would put the point into a slit in the shaft, and then they would wrap it with sinew, and then they would make their own glue out of saps and other minerals. They would heat it over a fire, and then they would bond it to the arrow. And then the point themselves, they would take the arrow points, and then they would go down to the certain shape or size that they wanted. And they would use this technique called flint knapping, which is removing flake by flake until they get the desired sharpness. And after they shot something, even if the arrow point broke, it wasn't completely useless. They would take it and make different sizes. So if maybe you had a larger arrow point for a deer and it broke off inside of it, they would take it and they would make it a smaller arrow point for a bird. And that's the weapon making process.
Now, every group of Native Americans, every tribe used some sort of the skills because everything was passed down from generation to generation. But they had to adapt certain hunting styles depending on where they lived. Take, for example, like you mentioned earlier, the Sioux tribe in the plains. They used hunting tactics by ambush hunting, where they would get a large herd or a large part of their tribe and chase a herd of buffalo off a small hill or a bluff. And then they would go down, and once they harvested all the animals, they would have enough resources, food, and everything else for the rest of the season, as well as to trade with other tribes. Now, out here in the east with the Cherokee, they would primarily use stalking, which is where you go very quietly through the woods to follow or track the animal, and they try to get the perfect shot for a clean, ethical kill, because they didn't believe in harming animals. If they wanted to kill it, they would do it ethically. So once they harvested the animal, they believed that every animal had a soul and a spirit, so they needed to honor the animal spirit by doing rituals, performing rituals to show a deep respect and love for nature that they had.
Not only did they believe the animals had a soul, but they also believed that the animals were giving themselves willingly so that the Native American people could survive.
Mm.
Now, before the European settlers arrived, the Native Americans didn't have the camouflage we see today. So they used things from their natural environment, such as the animal pelts and skins and the foliage from the bushes. They would camouflage themselves. And they'd also use face paint to camouflage themselves and also to show their rank. And then through ceremonies, they would use face paint for different ceremonies. Now, now I stalk animals today, and just like the Native Americans did, they used moccasins. Now I don't use moccasins because they're leather and they're easy. You can mess them up and they're waterproof. They're not waterproof, I mean. And so I have specific shoes that I actually hunt in, and they have a large toe box, and they're flexible, and they have a really soft sole, and I use those when I hunt deer and bear. When I stalk them, I'm able to navigate through the woods easy, and you're able to control your weight on them better. That's why they have a large toe box. So to wrap this up, we just wanted to get a better understanding of the Native Americans and how they not only used their skills and their resources, but we also wanted to understand how they respected their animals as well, that they relied on for their survival.
From the use of their bows, arrows, and hunting techniques catered to their region, we learned how they respected, like he said, and loved nature and everything else. So thank you for going on this hunting trip with us. I'm Jackson Myers, and I'm in 10th grade.
My name's Jaden Guzman, and I'm in 10th grade.
And whose class were you in?
Miss Barnett's
What?
U.S. history.
There you go. All right. So we're going to start simple. What made you choose this project?
We both love to hunt, and we both have Native American ancestry. So we love this topic, and we just think it's really fascinating and cool.
So you were on board immediately, Jackson?
Yeah, he suggested the topic, and I said, that sounds great.
Perfect. So tell me about your process of building the board and going through, because you've stuck with the same board pretty much since the beginning. So tell me about this design process to create your board.
So we went on, now I already had all the turkey feathers and the coyote that was usually here.
Yeah.
And, but we went to Walmart and we actually got some fabric, and we actually cut out a silhouette of a deer.
So, which no one would know that's just a fake and not the real thing.
But we just didn't want to glue this kind of stuff to a real
I don't blame you.
pelt.
Well, and so is that your original pictures, or tell me?
These are the original.
Yeah, the
these
pictures,
are the original
yes.
pictures.
But we reprinted these.
Right. So you reprinted those so they were sharp for states.
Mm-hmm.
Smart move.
It's kind of hard to get like regular printer paper to stay like neat like this on board.
Oh yeah.
It's traveled
Well,
back to
and
school a couple times.
I was
all
gonna
over
say.
the
So
place.
tell me about that. Where all has this board been?
It's been to the school. This is the third time it's been to the school.
Yeah. So third time it's in the school. So we had your presentation in class, school fair,
And now.
judges panel, and now. So four
Oh,
times.
Yeah, actually, I forgot about that.
And then where else?
It's been to the Ravenswood for the county,
Yeah.
and then Parkersburg
For regionals. And then
And then now it's
in the States.
just
it went to the States last week for State Social States here. So he's got some miles.
Mm-hmm.
And it still looks really great. So, did y'all have any struggles in making this project, like doing research or building your board? Were there any things that like might have been a little complicated at the beginning?
The research and everything. We also like did it like based on our experiences.
Right.
And like we talked to my pawpaw. My pawpaw's Native American, and we did research just online in different books. So the research and building the board, it was a little tricky trying to get the words on there. We were trying to figure out how we were going to do that on this pelt. But I think the hardest thing for both of us was the speech, trying to like come up with our speech and how we were able to talk about it.
So Jackson, let me ask you a question. Do you have a lot of public speaking experience?
No, not really.
No. Is this like your first time?
It's not my first. I've spoken in front of a lot of people before, but I don't like it. it's not my favorite thing to do.
Well, I think you've gotten much more confident.
Mm-hmm.
So, what has been your favorite part of the social studies fair process?
The experience.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit more for me?
I mean, this is my first time ever doing a board like this and going anywhere with it. I usually just do it for the grade and then not do anything else with it.
Right.
So I like traveling with it and presenting it to different people and how they viewed this topic. Like some people, their grandparents were Native American and everything else.
This is a project I think it really connects with a lot of people, especially with the fact that it's such a hunting state and a hunting culture even today. Yes. So I'm going to ask this question to you first and then to you. One, would you do this again and why?
I would do it again because I feel like it's just a fun experience. I like the creativity we had to use to come up with this. And like he said, the hardest part was just the speech and try to remember it. But it was just fun.
Well, good. Good. How about you?
Yeah, I would absolutely do this again. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed talking. And I just... I like to talk to people a lot, and
no, you're kidding me.
and I talk to a lot of random people, and I've talked in front of a lot of people before, like all the time. I talk in front of a lot of people, and I just like to teach people how like something that makes them go, oh wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm really really passionate about. We both are, and we love this stuff.
Well, good. It's part of who you are. Right? So
it's my whole personality.
I know, it's totally your personality. So talk about a little bit about your archery experience, both of you, like archery and hunting. Do you want to add a little bit about that?
Myself, I compete in professional archery, and I travel around the nation in world hunting. Yeah. I've been to Africa bow hunting, and I only hunt with a bow. I don't use a gun anymore. And I've killed 32 deer and 2 bear. One of the bear was actually stalking on the ground, and it was growling at me. And I've killed countless squirrels with a bow, and I've tons of raccoons that like to get my chicken coop.
Understood. How would you, Jackson?
I enjoy shooting my bow, but I don't hunt as much as he does with it, but I try. I like to squirrel hunt and turkey hunt, deer hunt, but I only use a bow for deer, but I haven't been out a whole lot with my bow.
Okay, that's all right. So looking ahead, so are you planning towards next year already? Are you thinking about it? I know the answer because we didn't even make it out of the Civic Center before you started talking about projects for next year. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about for next year, maybe?
I'd like to do something involved around hunting again. I think it's also...
Yeah, it's easy for us to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about it.
Right. So as state champions, you can't repeat this project. This project is officially retired. So we have to say goodbye to this, but not necessarily hunting altogether as we look forward. So anything you want to add?
I guess we'll see you next year.
I hope. My fingers are crossed already. So I'm really excited to get started. So congratulations to you both.
Thank you.